It's been a hot minute. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. I just want to start off by saying thank you for your patience while I've been away for a little bit. Yeah, I'm sorry for the absence. I had some stuff going on in my personal life and went through the motions a little bit, spent some time with my family, and I had some time off, but all very well needed basically. As you can kind of tell by my change of image, it's reflective of somewhat of a breakdown, but it is fine. We're all good. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. Glad I finally feel up to being a bit more creative now and creating some content again, because I didn't want to make it and not be in the mood for it. I just kind of had to hit the pause for a little bit, but I'm glad to be back. So thank you for your patience. I do really appreciate it, and I've missed talking at you guys. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about how I chose my name. This idea was kind of given to me when someone asked, they posted a comment on a video asking how I came about it, and I thought it would probably be quite a good thing to talk about. In typical fashion, I was just gonna stick to the normal structure of I will talk to you guys for a bit, and then I opened up a little question box on my Instagram a couple of days ago, so I'll answer those questions. This is quite a short and sweet story about how I kind of came to choosing my name. It's not that complicated, so it's a quite a nice easy video to get back into things. So I thought the best way to talk about it is kind of to go chronologically. As always, that makes the most sense. So I first started kind of thinking about my name and questioning my name back in 2018 when I was kind of coming to terms with identifying as trans. I was kind of unboxing the whole umbrella term of being transgender, and as I said in the previous video, I started off by identifying as non-binary and using they them to kind of see how that made me feel before I went on to he him pronouns and transitioning. Ironically, when I think about my name, I have a vivid memory of when I was in primary school and I was in like this friendship group, and we made like this little club, and we made name tags and nicknames for ourselves, and I vividly remember my nickname being nothing like my birth name, like nothing like my name at that time, and it all kind of confused them for a bit, and it was kind of like at the time it was seen as a boyish name, and the nickname was Frankie basically, and I chose that to be my nickname in this group, and it was really like, that's literally not like your name at all. So that's probably, if we're gonna really therapize this and talk about when I first wanted to change my name, it was probably when I was like 7 or 8. But anyway, moving on. So I first started thinking about going with a gender neutral name because I identified as non-binary at the time. I really like gender neutral names. I think they're quite freeing, and I just think they're quite simple, and they leave a lot. It leaves a lot open to the individual, and that's why I wanted to have a gender neutral name. Annoyingly, I can't remember the ones that were on like my list as such. Like I can't remember. Frankie was on the list, ironically. Charlie was always a front runner. I always just really liked the name. Me and my brothers used to watch Charlie and Lola, which was a TV show.
Charlie!
And around the house we'd always just say, well, Charlie, can you help me? It's a phrase from the show. So yeah, that had sentimental value as well, I think, when I was younger. And yeah, I can't actually really remember any others, which is really annoying now. Basically, it was if anything kind of ending in IE and that was gender neutral, I probably thought about it being my name. I kind of liked the E sound at the end. So yeah, I didn't really practice it that much other than with a close group of friends. I remember kind of being sat in the kind of communal living area in my first year uni accommodation, and I was sat with my flatmate, and we were talking, having that conversation where it's like, oh, if you weren't the name you were now, what name would you want? Like, what name would you be? And yeah, and I just remember him looking over to me and said, oh, I wouldn't have put you as a blank. He said, oh, I would have put you more as a Charlie. And it really hit the nail on the head for me, because in that moment he didn't even realize that behind the scenes in my own time I'd had this whole kind of internal monologue and like this whole kind of like what felt like an identity crisis, and that Charlie was literally the front runner of the name, and the fact that he just effortlessly turned to me and said, I think you look like a Charlie, it all made sense to me, and it gave me such a relief and this kind of this release of emotion that like, oh, if someone can see me that way and not even realize that I'm thinking about it as well, like, then that kind of means a lot to me. So that was kind of it, and I just went with Charlie, and I kind of said to my flatmates at the time, I was like, can we try this, and can we try these pronouns? And they were brilliant with it, and they said yes. And it was the first stepping stone to kind of coming out further, and then taking the further steps of going into kind of the he him pronoun area, and then transitioning. I'm annoyed I didn't try out a few more names. I think if I have any regret, I do regret not kind of having a bit of a test run with some other names. I've really heard the Starbucks method is a good way. So obviously you go into Starbucks, you order a drink, and they ask for a name. so you can test trial as many names as you want. Yeah, I haven't changed my name legally yet. I'm in the process of the gender recognition certificate application, so I'm hoping I can kind of change my name and my gender marker at the same time. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. We're going to give it a go. But yeah, that's kind of like how I chose my name. My birth name was really feminine, and it did, as I got older, it did cause a lot of discomfort and dysphoria for me. So kind of choosing my name was very empowering, and the fact that people always say they see me, obviously people say what they want you to hear, but the fact that people say that I am a Charlie, it all lines up, and it allowed me to take the next step in my transition and make me feel more comfortable moving forward and dealing with the harder topics, like, you know, with surgery and transitioning and all that kind of serious stuff. So whether it's just changing your name that will make you feel better, whether it's just to align with using the pronouns you want to use, yeah, I think it's a great step. It's a great first step, and it's quite empowering as a first step as well. So, like I said, I opened up my Instagram for you guys to ask some questions, so I'll just dive into some of those. First question I got asked was, did you ask your parents for ideas, or did you come up with it on your own? That's a good question, actually, because I do know that some people who kind of have the conversation with their family, they do kind of get their input. I didn't ask for my parents' ideas because I kind of did it while I was at uni and kind of before I came out to them. And also I didn't want to offend them. I think I was quite stressed about saying like, eek, I don't like this name you give me. Actually, I don't like this whole identity I've got, so I'm going to change it all. So no, they didn't really have much to do with picking my names, but I did kind of think about my family when I thought about using my dad's name as a middle name or his middle name as a middle name and all that kind of stuff. In the end, I went with Charlie Orion Hughes because my younger brothers, their middle names are quite, not spacey, but kind of have that theme to it. So one of my brothers' middle name is Cosmo and the other one is called Rocco, and I think they're both kind of like constellations and stuff, and I just really liked, I wanted to have what they had. I wanted to be part of the crew. So so yeah, kind of they didn't really come up with ideas, but I did kind of think about them when I was doing it a little bit. There's kind of little family elements, but in the end, no, I did make the decision on my own because I didn't want it to be influenced by anyone else. I didn't want it to be my decision. When I came out and I told them, my brothers picked it up like that, and they've been really great with it. So yeah, it's all gone really well. Did you always have your name in mind, or was it hard to choose one? Yeah, to an extent, I think I did always have Charlie in my mind because of, like I said, the way I felt about the name growing up, like little kind of personal reasons and motives that I did just really like the name. Next question was, did it take a while to identify with your name, or did it fit straight away? I think with any change, it took a while to get used to. Like transitioning in a whole is just a big bunch of changes and getting used to those changes. It did take a while for me to identify with my name. There were times where I didn't realize people were talking to me and I kind of jumped into the conversation midway. But I think on the whole, because I chose it, I did always kind of identify with it, and I aligned with that name. And because I had such a good group of friends at the time, and like they were doing all they could to kind of help me with this change, yeah, it was a very safe and good environment to do something like that. And as a result, it allowed me to kind of really just test how I felt with that name, and as a result, I identified with it pretty quickly. And like I said, the fact that kind of moment I had with my flatmate when he just looked at me and said, "You look like it," and he didn't even know what was going on, it really did kind of mean a lot to me, and he didn't even know it. So yeah, there you go. And then finally, how many times did you forget to respond to Charlie at first? Quite a few, especially in bigger social groups. Like as I slowly started to kind of expand the amount of people, and kind of as I started to come out as Charlie and use Charlie, yeah, I did kind of forget that people were talking to me. Like any change that you instigate within a transition, whether it's pronouns or like names or whatever you're trying to change and kind of put into motion, it takes time. So those are the questions you guys had for me, and that was my little short and sweet story of how I chose my name. When it comes to names and pronouns, it doesn't take a lot to just be respectful and just be a nice person. So thank you for checking out this video. If you guys liked it, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any other questions or queries about names or transitioning stuff, let me know, because if it's a good idea, if I think I have something worth saying about it, I'll make a video about it. So yeah, and I have no idea what I'm planning to do next, so I will keep you guys in the loop, and I will see you all soon.